Hello guys, it's your boy again, Stevie Ray, and I'm here again for another TKN Celebrity Grand Tournament prediction. 3 combatants this week, and this is going to be a good one. Number 1, we have Antonio Sabato Jr. You guys seen him on the soap operas, out there macking the ladies. Yeah, but see tonight, no macking, just cracking Antonio. Number 2 on the list, good friend of mine. You guys know him as the $1 Million Man. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Fame professional wrestler, Mr. Ted Dibiase. The same man that spoiled the wedding for the Junkyard Dog after being his best man. Yes, I still remember that. Everybody has a price for this guy, and we know that. Third, last but not least, one guy makes money, this guy takes the money. Mr. Mike Rotunda, you know him as Mr. I.R.S. We don't want to see him coming, but tonight he's here. WWE Hall of Famer. Now, who am I going to pick? I think Osambata has a little left in the tank. And I think Ted Dibiase has a little left in the tank. So my 2 are WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. Ted Dibiase and Antonio Sabato Jr. And I'm picking those 2 because nobody likes that I.R.S. Now, can you dig it? Peace.
This is different. This is magnificent, man. And I like this. I enjoyed myself to the fullest, and I can't wait to come back on. I can't wait to see it, see more of the people on here.
And it's also wonderful to hear people talk sanely to each other.
You have something amazing going with the show because you're there and you're educating us.
I mean, yes, pain is inevitable. I mean, there's a reason we have these sensors in our body. I mean, they're warning signs. In other words, something hurts. Obviously, something is amiss.
She told me her story again about her and her dad, but she also said, by the way, my father passed away. She's an only child, and she didn't have any family. And she asked me to walk her down the aisle. That's the part that changed.
It's just that cruel moment of when you realize there is no hope. That tears at me, but it doesn't tear at me anymore because there was hope. I hung on just long enough to come out the other side. And here I am. Look at me, all beautiful and stuff.
This thing has drawn me out of myself and thereby drawn me into myself. But I learned a lot. And from you, Avi, I always learned something from you.
Continue to work as hard as you can, because by working, Avi, you will keep yourself busy and get used to the grief.
Another trio of questions, now more underrated. We have Billy D. Williams, Italian men named Skippy or Unicycle.
I'm sorry, Italian men named Skippy. Put me away, Avi. That's
Archie Bunker, the mountain climber. Ralph Cramden, the yoga instructor, or Don Corleone, the computer repair person.
It's clearly an issue with the hard drive.
I'm going to go Don Corleone.
Where I went around, I visited all the adults first in the cancer, the Stony Brook University Cancer Center, and then I visited the children. And I would say the adults were at least as enthused and joyful to see Santa. And
I got a chance to get to know Joe Weeder. Joe was like a second father to me. He took me under his wing. He introduced me to art. He introduced me to history.
There are those of us who like to venture to the unexplored, to see the beauty in the strange and unknown. Those of us who go out there with a sense of wonder. It's the magic of risking everything for a dream that nobody sees but you.
Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the shadow of the shade. Yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me, unafraid. God, it matters not how straight the gate, how punishment charged the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
I have to remind myself that some birds aren't meant to be caged. Their feathers are just too bright. And when they fly away, the part of you that knows it was a sin to lock them up does rejoice. Let me tell you about a voice. The one that whispers. It tells me what's right and what's not, when to leave and where to go. It's not Shakespeare. It does not speak in memorable lines. My inner voice always gives it to me straight. Tells me who my real friends are. When to say yes, when to say no. Whether the person sitting next to me is the one I'll be spending the rest of my life with.
You already know that dedication, hard work, and perseverance gives positive results.
Let your instincts guide you.
What would you do if you weren't an actor? If you didn't make it as an actor, what would you do? I have no idea. I would act somewhere, because I'll die if I don't.
I had a blast. I want to dance with somebody.
There we go.
I'll do it.
I do too right now, guys and gals. And you know,
but I was going, Tom, Don, I'm a true fan. Yo, I never watched all of your movies through, Tom, because they scared the crap out of me. Love y'all, man.
Pleasure. Great to meet you. It's great to meet you too, Trent.
Yeah, Avi, you did a great job.
Hi, I'm Rick Barry, a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame and one of the NBA's top 50 players. And I'm really excited to tell you about my new relationship in the broadcasting world with the new network.
It's TKN, and a young man named Avi Klein has poured his blood, sweat, and tears into creating this new network and assembling an amazing group of individuals to co-host shows with him.
Legends from every walk of life who are just bringing their knowledge and their experience and their wisdom, and this is amazing. I feel like this is a cosmic convergence of what is most important to him, and he's such a stand-up guy.
Here, but with a very warm heart for Avi and thanking him for all the work he's put into creating the new network. For me, I have just a teeny part of this in terms of having a program that's based on storytelling, where I get to share some of my stories with you.
I can't even imagine how hard Avi Klein worked. He tells me he gets 4 hours of sleep a day, and I actually believe that, because Avi is so passionate, he works so hard.
There is nothing that was on TV tonight that even remotely rivals what we did on this broadcast.
I am so grateful for our friendship. And you know what? You appreciate things in people that make such a difference. You make each of us feel like we're more than we know how to even thank you. Anyway.
He's very respectful, and he really connects with the artists and his audiences, and I felt like this guy's on to something, and I'm proud to be a part of this with him.
And I really thank your support. I lost my father, and you were the first person to support me in all that, and I thank you so much for that.
Avi, congratulations. I don't know anybody that can talk as much as you. Seriously, I thought I could talk. You are unreal. What you do it with class, understanding, professionalism, you're simply amazing. I told you that when I first met you, and you ran off my autobiography. Basically, it was a book. It was simply fantastic. And to think that you do that every show.
Greatest wealth is when you can share it with someone. You can share your victories, you can share your failure, you can express your deepest feelings, but the greatest wealth is to be able to say that I have a friend, and I feel an unbelievable level of wealth, and a lot of that is because I have somebody like you.
last name Ventura, first name Jesse.
I'll tell you this, Avi, you definitely do your homework.
John Amos.
Man, what an introduction. I hope I can live up to that. God bless you.
I hope you're getting paid a lot. That was the greatest intro I think I've ever had.
So I'm highly impressed. So I would give this a very high A.
Well, thank you very much. I can't think of a better way to begin the new year than with you.
Avi, always great to hear your voice, kid, and to hear your intros. You're amazing.
Davidson, first name Tommy.
Nice. Now, I think that's the best intro I've ever had.
Nice time tonight in the green room?
I had a great time. I can't tell you how refreshing it is that somebody knows what they're doing.
Avi is a poet, but he doesn't know it, but his feet show it.
Winning it all, competitive juices, are they all there, Joe?
Man, the competitive juices don't stop.
Are you here to win the whole darn tournament?
I don't play. I just win.
You're chomping at the bit to get in this thing.
Oh yeah, man. I've been telling you, brother. You brought up some names to me, and I was like, I can't wait. I hope they don't see me because it's gonna be on like a steaming pot of neck bones, baby. And I'm not playing.
Mike, I gotta ask you the golden question. Are you here to win the entire thing, my friend?
I'll just say this, Avi. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
But are you here to win the entire celebrity tournament when it's all said and done?
I saw a very familiar face in Mike Rotunda, better known as I.R.S. And he said that he was here for the winner, winner, chicken dinner. And I want to take away that chicken dinner. So yes, I want to win this whole shebang.
First name, Joe! Joe Smith, welcome, my friend!
Oh my God, Avi. Where did you get all of that from? Oh my God.
As air conditioners at your favorite B&B in Alaska would be rendered obsolete after witnessing that intro because we're all fired up. That much is a fact. You've all experienced luminary after luminary enter this virtual arena. Indeed, this tournament is quite stacked. I dub this vision of mine edutainment because I place emphasis on entertainment and education. Because on this station, we celebrate those that are passionate about their vocation. And this format is anything but the same old, so I thank you for embracing the innovation and expressing your constellation when taking in the most star-studded tournament of them all, a place where competitors convey their level of admiration, while we marvel at the information, passion, and perspiration when observing this wide array of talent that make up the population of strong-minded thinkers that enlighten us, which is why I subscribe to conversation, because listening and applying is how we get to our destination. You know, we're all so much closer as human beings than we are apart, which is why this show offers a demonstration of what's right about us as a society. So for the new viewers out there who have a fascination, sit back and enjoy as I put a cap on this verbal dissertation. Let's keep doing what we do, which is good, and realize that our motto isn't a Sherlock Holmes mystery. A legendary director of Superman fame, my mentor, told me years ago, write your own history. Teaching history and screenwriting for the very best was one thing, but sharing your history is an honor. That mentor lives in my heart daily. His name was Richard Donner. So let's sit back and realize what we've witnessed in this tournament, oh so grand, where 132 Hall of Famers and Hollywood Award winners and nominees own this land, as we discover and rediscover our humanity through open dialogue, and we expand. So be prepared to give a hand to competitors that are about to work their sweat gland, all the while our attention they command. With $15,000 and a 5-day and 5-night first-class trip to Greece on the line, one can't forget about the pride and the prize. So with that, let's all rise and reprise our roles as educational voyeurs that never chastise, nor do we agonize, but rather we revel in our beautiful reality without needing a disguise. Here on this network, we're allergic to lies. The bard Mr. Shakespeare once said, it's not in the stars to hold our destiny, but it's in ourselves. So if you love something, don't hate others that do, because doing is the sweet nectar that is most rewarding. Take a moment to breathe, admire your desire to aspire, because if you don't, life will be but a blur. Of this I'm sure, so never hate the flower for starting out as a seed. Long distance running, it might be essential, but it's not a stampede, so don't run anyone over on your way to the top. Focus on yourself, but never forget to cheerlead. Root for your loved ones and lift people up. This human fortune cookie hopes that we've all agreed that positivity is something we can never concede. So guys, with that, Mr. Mike Rotundo, the foundation for a balanced success are honesty, character, integrity, faith, love, and loyalty. The following participant has actions that always speak louder than even a lion's roar. He never fails at anything, because a man that loves and supports his family is the true definition of a success story. Perhaps it's those that strive to be of value and not success are those that realize happiness is the key to success, not the other way around. The latter epitomizes our next participant. He's class personified. He's a man of integrity. He's a man of virtue. He's a friend. And guys and gals and pals watching, he's also a man of honor.
The will to win, the will to excel, these are the things that endure. Quality of life is a full measure of a man's personal commitment to this excellence and to this victory, but in every endeavor.
The difference between men is not lack of strength, not lack of knowledge, but rather lack of will. But the new leadership is in sacrifice, it is in self-denial, it is in love, It is in loyalty. It is in fearlessness and humility. And it is in the perfectly disciplined will. But the spirit, the will to excel, the will to win, these are the things that endure.
My idea would be, if I was going to do a ride-along type movie, to do a lot of different stuff like that, and stuff that a lot of it actually happened, and call it Varsity Club Hits the Road, starring Rick Steiner and myself. I would go back in the time when Jesus Christ was being crucified, and first of all, I would try to help him in any way possibly that I could. And I would ask him to come with me back to early 2023 to save my son's life.
Guys and gals and pals, if you want controversy, this is not the right place for you. I promise you. We're going to have conversation. And guys and gals, you obviously are very thankful for what these luminaries are doing. What I do with this pomp and circumstance type intro is I want to celebrate them for who they are. They deserve to be celebrated for who they are, for giving back to the voiceless, and for being there to shake people's hands, to lift their hearts and souls. They do that because they want to do that. That's the people that they are. And guys, as I always say, conversation over controversy. We preach all things edutainment over here, combining entertainment, education. And again, this is sort of a pay-per-view event without the word pay. Guys and gals, without the word pay, because this is free for all, and thank you all for supporting us wholeheartedly. We do appreciate that. This is where we spread positivity and still have fun all along the way, guys. Guys and gals and pals, I want to bring in Mr. Mike Rotunda right now by letting you know that he was born in '58 and began a journey that would solidify his status as one of the very best. And as an adult, they would appreciate his excellence from the Midwest to Budapest, as one would be hard-pressed to suggest that there is one country on planet Earth that missed out on experiencing this man's excellence, as we were all there to invest. But first, let's go back to the very beginning of his quest. His father showed him how to punt, pass, and kick, and as an 8-year-old, he would win quite the contest. He won a punt and pass contest and went to the semis and competed in halftime, guys and gals, of 2 pro games. The Eagles and Steelers followed by the Cowboys and Redskins. There were 15 kids remaining, and he beat everyone, much to their chagrins. He won again when he was 12, and later on, he threw a football for 65 yards. He was a 3-sport athlete with many options, but fate would step in to reveal its cards. He attended Newark Valley High School in Newark Valley, New York, and he transferred to Owego Free Academy, where he lettered in wrestling and football. He excelled rapidly and drew many top recruiters who definitely had the wherewithal. He participated in amateur wrestling and became a sectional champion in the 250-pound class in 1976, and at the New York State Championship, he was incredible and placed 4th. And many moons later, he became one of the top stars at the biggest pro wrestling promotion of all time, which happened to be up north. After graduating from high school, he attended one of the finest sports universities in the country. I'm talking about Syracuse, not to be confused with a city in Sicily, which many would deduce dedicates a temple to the Greek god Zeus. He competed in football and amateur wrestling, becoming Eastern Intercollegiate Wrestling Association champion in 81 and becoming a letter winner in 77, 78, 79, 81. And by the way, everyone, one of his recruiters, legendary Giants coach Tom Coughlin, who guided the Giants to 2 Super Bowl defeats of the Patriots. As a New Yorker, that was a lot of fun. He played with legendary football players such as Joe Morris, Craig Wolfley, Jim Collins, and the great Art Monk. Years later, he'd be involved in a hot feud with the legendary Dory Funk. One day, he met the legendary Destroyer after a wrestling banquet, and he was asked if he would be interested in going pro. He did. The Destroyer became his Mr. Miyagi, but he needed to make some dough. So what do you know? He was off to Germany as promoter Mr. Swinkowicz paid him $400 to participate in the show. He wrestled in Canada, and next was Mid-Atlantic, as Wahoo McDaniel liked his strong amateur background. Within 6 months, he won the TV title as he would ascend and astound. Pound for pound, he was as impactful as Wood Chamberlain's rebound. Next up was New York, where he quickly won tag gold, but behold, his tag partner, Barry Windham's sister Stephanie, would meet him, surrounded by the backdrop of many a cheer. As he was excelling during a fast-rising period in his career, they would end up married within half a year. This man's resume is mind-blowing, so let's take a moment and talk shop, because these accolades and accomplishments will make anyone's jaw drop. One-time Eastern Intercollegiate Wrestling Association heavyweight champion, 3-time NWA Florida Heavyweight Champion, 2-time NWA Southern Heavyweight Champion, 4-time NWA U.S. Tag Team Champion, 1-time NWA U.S. Tag Champion, 1-time NWA World Tag Team Champion, 3-time NWA World Television Champion, 1-time NWA Canadian Television Champion, 5-time WWF/WE Tag Team Champion, George Tragos, Lou Thez Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, guys and gals, a 1-time Slammy Award winner, a WWE Hall of Famer. The man provides the masses with memories that came with victories and defeats. So better, guys and gals, organize all of your receipts, because from 91 to 95, one thing he wouldn't tolerate were any tax cheats. That's right, he had many authentic layers to one of the most iconic wrestling characters of all time. I'm speaking of I.R.S. But despite locker rooms and a human game of chess, this man would never stress, because he did it all for his family, as his work would continue to impress. Multiple stints with Ted Turner's WCW in a career that would, guys and gals, end in May of 2004. Whether it was in the States or in Japan, the fans wanted more and asked for an encore, but he gave them his all while reminding us what he always stands for, which is family. In about 30 seconds, you'll leap from your seats, as you definitely will applaud a man that is so easy to like. So give it up for a real, kind, humble, intelligent human being. Last name Rotunda, first name Mike. Welcome, my friend, to round 2 of the Celebrity Tournament.
Thank you, Avi. It's great to be here. You know, you could put some music to that and become the all-time best rapper in the world.
Oh, no. I appreciate that, my friend. I got to tell you, when I think of your resume, but also getting to know you and Ted and everybody involved here, it's great because, you know, you've worked with a lot of luminaries, so have I in my whole life, and I'm impressed by authenticity, and you're an authentic person, and Ted's an authentic person, and sometimes when I think of a bio or rhyme scheme to introduce you, it comes naturally because I want to applaud you. And I want to applaud how you got your principles and your priorities straight. It's all about family. Am I right, Mr. Rotunda?
For sure. You make it sound easy, you know, the way you do it, but it's really impactful and meaningful when you're listening to you, because you hit all these points about someone and you actually make us look a lot better than we really are. So that's cool.
No, I appreciate that. You guys give back so much of your time, and I wish all the fans out there understand. Guys, you're looking at human beings that put on their sneakers one foot at a time like we do, and they got their problems and they got their trials and tribulations, and we need to show them some respect and sympathy and privacy and all of that great stuff. And speaking of great stuff, hey, to the winner goes the spoils. Our great sponsors putting up $15,000, as you know, and a 5-day, 5-night trip to Greece. Mike, your competitor, the real crux of this tournament is learning from each other. Strangers walk in as strangers, they leave as friends. We get to open up, but at the end of the day, it's a tournament. 132 Hall of Famers and award winners are trying to win this prize. The first to become the first ever TKN Celebrity Grand Tournament champion. Are you here to win it all, my friend?
For sure, Bobby. I mean, why else be here if you're not going to try to win? Actually, my wife and I just had a chance. We went for our 40th anniversary in October.
Sure.
To Europe. We went to Spain and got to see different parts of Spain, and so we did a cruise, which we don't normally do, but it's pretty awesome country over there, seeing you know, Europe in that aspect. I've been there to Europe probably 45 times over the years between wrestling and WWE mostly, but you never got to do anything. You never got to see anything. You never got to go take a bus into downtown Morocco or do anything like that, and it was pretty cool. So, you know, anybody that hasn't been to that, and I've been to Greece as well, and even if I don't win, whoever's going to get that winning ticket, they're going to really enjoy. That was one of my wife and I's favorite anniversary, was going to Greece. It was very cool. So
that is really cool, and I wish the fans also understood. And you know, I know we have a lot of luminaries who watch the show. They comment. Lou Ferrigno watches a lot. Jim McMahon watches a lot. Jesse Ventura. I wish some of the guys who never participated in pro wrestling understand that the life wasn't glamorous, that essentially you were lucky if you found a Denny's at 2 a.m. open, because it was airport, hotel, rent a car, maybe not in that order, getting a workout before going to the arena, and then lather, rinse, repeat all over again, pretty much.
Yeah, when Barry Windham and I first went to WWE, that was the end of 1984 throughout 85. We worked 300 days that year, and that was 300 days. And on Saturday and Sunday, normally we would run a double shot Saturday and a double shot Sunday.
Wow.
Because everything was so hot and there was really no rhyme or reason where you were going. It was like They'd get a building booked, and you could go in there. You might be in New Jersey one night, and then you might be in California the next night, back to Ohio, down to Texas.
I can't imagine.
Up to Nebraska, up to Canada.
I can't
imagine.
imagine.
It was pretty crazy.
I can't imagine.
We did
really
over 300 days of that, and that was totally different than what we were used to doing. Even though you worked every day in a territory, you would get home every night. There was no getting home on this.
Wow.
I had just gotten married, and the only time I saw my wife, I would bring her on the road for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and she would travel with me because we were just gone.
That's insane. Yeah, a dear friend who we lost, Chris Pallies, told me that he thought Mid-South was tough and kind of going out some of those spot towns there, but nothing like that killer calendar that Vince had in the 80s. Yeah. My friend, guys, the classy Mike Rotunda, and class knows class, guys. So another classy human being who we're happy he's here with us. He made it to round number 2 as well. The moment that we believe that success is determined by an ingrained level of ability as opposed to resilience and hard work, we will be brittle in the face of adversity. And our next participant is a man that epitomizes the word resiliency and honesty and vulnerability and truth. But he also so happens to be a down-to-earth human being. And he's as real gets. And I can attest to that. And I appreciate that our friend, late friend Dale Wilkes got us together years ago. His tenacity, his determination, his humility. It's a success story. It's an inspirational story in which the final chapter is yet to be written. He's not only talent personified, but he's class personified. Maybe it's because the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. The true happiness that we seek takes a genuine interest in all details of our daily lives. And these sentiments all apply, guys and gals, to our next participant, because to know him is to know his heart. In a world filled with questions, it's quite comforting to know that there are simple answers when it comes to certain people. For instance, this man's honesty, his integrity, his word, his passion and compassion. There are no questions when it comes to all of the above. Because guys and gals and pals, this man is a quality human being. Top notch. So please, if you will, take a look at Mr. Ted Dibiase.
I am simply a symbol. The ovation was for these men here. And remember this. Remember this. You don't have to be a corpse to be a hero. There they sit. They're not corpses. Because had it not been for that wonderful service, these men would not have had a good time. Over 130,000 other men of the Third Army have had a damn good time.
I was a Beatles fan too. I was a fan of a lot of rock and roll bands, but I didn't, I don't think that, I don't know, just as an individual, as a musician, I've never seen anybody, and I've seen movies about Elvis. I've read books about him and everything, and I was a fan. Somebody wants to, somebody wants to knock off this country, and they want to be number one, and they want to have the most money, and they want to have all the stuff, and that's never going to happen.
Guys and gals, that's the thing about Mr. Ted Dibiase. Getting to know him, I got to tell you, I love how honest he is. I love how classy he is. I love how convicted this man is, and how he reminds us about, again, what to prioritize in life, like Mr. Mike Rotunda. Guys, our next competitor tonight is very inspiring. His heart is always on full display. His purpose in life is absolute, and his intention and goals never go astray. He was raised in Wilcox, Arizona, and his father was a professional wrestler known by the moniker Iron Mike in the 50s and 60s. This was decades before he'd applied the $1 Million Dream on his opponents as he'd applied the squeeze. Like his father, he became a superb athlete as he went to West Texas on a football scholarship. Football wasn't ultimately in the cards. His pro wrestling success was imminent, whether it was high-profile feuds with snakes or prison guards. he'd soon start training with Dory and Terry Funk, brothers, and two of the most legendary competitors of the territory era. Soon his character would entertain with trips to jewelry stores and summer rentals in the French Riviera. His work in Mid-South under Bill Watts is the stuff of legend as he became top contender in the NWA. His unequivocal, unparalleled level of talent and work ethic was apparent. There are no shades of gray. His infectious laugh is the stuff of legend, which makes sense because that word epitomizes who he is. He's one of the all-time greats, but has a purpose beyond showbiz. That being said, he's a competitor, and he is here to win it all. There is no doubt. On television in the 80s and 90s, he dispensed of his competition in many heated bouts. He's a WWE Hall of Famer, 3-time tag team champion, the first WWF North American heavyweight champion, and he also won a King of the Ring. Everybody has a price. The man definitely had the bling bling. He's the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestlers on many people's lists. Enough said. So welcome a talented, sincere, kind, and multifaceted human being. Last name Dibiase, first name Ted. Welcome to round two, my friend.
Hey, Abby, it's good to see you again, buddy.
Also competitor. You're also someone who's won it all. You're also someone who's in a very positive tournament here where the winner receives $15,000 and a 5-day trip to Greece. Would you like to win it all, my friend?
Absolutely. If I wouldn't, why play the game if you're not playing to win?
I hear that, my friend. Ted Dibiase. My friend, you were in round number one. You inspired a lot of people behind the scenes. I call them the suits and ties of the world. I have to ask you this question before we bring in Mr. Reich Rotunda and a special guest who's backstage who wants to say hi to you and also be our special judge tonight. What is it about speaking to kids, speaking to our youth? Is that also, would you consider that to be much more rewarding than any accomplishment that you ever received in your career, giving back?
Yes, absolutely. More so than anything. Especially in the world today.
Policy over personality.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the risk of smearing his reputation.
Yes.
At the risk of smearing.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
You know, I wasn't allowed to teach history the way I wanted to because I concur with what you said. You know, in '61, when John F. Kennedy didn't trust his military or government because of the Bay of Pigs fiasco, when everybody told him we're training those Cuban refugees who were doctors and lawyers, and he found out they were sent to slaughter, and Castro annihilated them, he didn't trust the military-industrial complex anymore. And if you remember, Ted, from that point on, talking about fighting for freedom became a dirty thing. All of a sudden, fighting for our freedom or protecting our liberties became something dirty to the point where right now we can't even celebrate our own faith without feeling ashamed publicly to talk about our faith. And that's what kept us together as the United States of America. Would you concur?
I concur, totally concur. You know, it's like, people in our country, you gotta wake up and smell the roses, because the country that we knew, the country that we were taught about as kids growing up, it's not that country anymore. And there's a whole lot of people, and people in powerful positions, that want to see us become a socialist society. And I'm, to heck with that. I'm going to go the other way. And the most important thing, it's like somebody asked me that question once. What's the most important relationship in your life?
Sure.
And I'm sure they expected me to say my wife. And I said, no, she's number two. The most important relationship in my life is my relationship with Jesus Christ. I mean, I am a strong Christian. I mean, and again, I love Mike. Mike Rotunda is a great guy. We became great friends. And there was still a lot of wild in me when Mike and I were together, but he was the same Mike I know today. Then, I was out doing crazy things and doing things I shouldn't do. I mean, I wrote a book about it. I called home one day and my wife says, I said, I don't want to talk about this on the phone. I'll be on the next plane home. She said, no, you won't. You don't live here anymore. And
that was April of '92, perhaps.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so it just so happened that this pastor guy, this friend of mine, Hal Santos, I met him in a gym in Baton Rouge. He stayed in touch with me, and he in my darkest hour. And I believe Mike and I were together, over in Europe. And that's when I got that call. And I went to Vince and I said, Vince, I have to leave. I've got to go. I got to go home. My wife's going to divorce me.
Sure.
And that's really what I expected. And I got home and it's probably the hardest thing, Avi, I've ever done, is that I came completely I just bore my soul. I told the whole ugly truth to my wife, totally expecting her to leave me. Even when I prayed to God, I said, God, I don't deserve her. I said, and when I really took a long, hard look at myself, it was like, yes, I've been a success at wrestling and a success at this and that, and most everything I attempted to do, but this is one area of my life that I, was out of control. And
sure.
And that's, but so Pastor Hal, he just so happened that he was taking his youth group to this event up in Chicago they have every year called the Ascension Convention. It's like for teenagers from all over the state of Illinois. Hal lived in Fairview Heights, Illinois. It was right across the river from St. Louis. And so he says, you and Melanie are coming along. Melanie's my wife. And so we go up there, and, I just actually got a chance to see this guy again just recently, a couple of weeks ago. But the speaker that day was a guy named Reggie Dabbs.
Right.
And Avi, this guy is talking, and I felt like, gosh, this guy's reading my mail. I mean, it felt like everything was just hitting me like a brick. And basically, he came to that point in the service where he said, if you know what you need, and you know that it's Jesus Christ, he says, then I'm challenging you to get out of your chair and come up here right now.
Wow.
In front of 15,000 teenagers, I got out of my chair, and I was the first guy to the front. I didn't just go up. I ran up, and I fell on my knees and put my nose in the carpet and cried like a baby.
Wow.
And that was the beginning of a whole new life. I mean, yeah, you can pat me on the back for all the great things I did in wrestling. I said, but here's the thing. This is not the most important thing in my life. And again, today, my relationship with Christ is the most important relationship in my life today. And because I did that, because I made that move, and the remarkable thing about my wife is that her faith at the time was so strong.
Wow.
I mean, I told everybody, I said, I've lost her.
That was almost maybe the foundation of interpersonal success as a couple, as a married, to be able to kind of believe in you. But hey, Ted, please take your roses because you deserve it. I want to say this to you because it comes from the heart again, because I was listening, and I think listening is underrated these days. We know that with our youth, but you create a good future by creating a good present, and you're creating a great present every day because you're speaking the truth. You're speaking the good word, and you're doing that and reaching out unapologetically, which is why I salute you, because we shouldn't apologize about speaking about something that saved our lives. You're talking about something that saved your life, Ted. That's incredible. I respect that. I respect that. Guys and gals, Mr. Ted Dibiase, Mr. Mike Rotunda, who I'm bringing in right now. We're going to start with topic number one in a moment, but we have a special guest. I do want to ask you guys real quick, just to get your opinion on this. I feel like it's something that's, when Ted was speaking right now, kind of, I don't know, for some reason I got this eureka moment. Do you think that the most important conversation that we have is the one that we have with ourselves rather with other people? The most important conversation that we can have in life is the one we have with ourselves? Is that a necessary thing today? Do we need to stop? Everything's moving so fast. It's high octane. Everything's 90 miles an hour. Should the kids out there maybe, hey, set aside a couple of minutes. Let's talk to ourselves. Let's have those conversations up here a little bit, right?
Avi, I think in this respect, it is probably the most important conversation that we can have, is to be totally honest with ourselves, to see ourselves as we really are. And that's one of those things that I went through back when Mike and I were tag team partners and everything. And, I have so much respect for Mike because I was going out and being this wild orangutan, and man, he was steadfast. I never told him this, but I said, I noticed, and then when I, when all hell broke loose and it looked like it was the end of the line for me, all the more respect, and admiration I had for Mike, because it's not easy. It's not easy to live. It's like he said, it's like, where did we live? Well, we lived in a hotel, it's like, I can remember waking up days and rolling over and oh my gosh, I'd have to look at the nameplate on the phone in the hotel.
Wow.
Oh, okay, I'm in Chicago. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. We flew in here from wherever, but that's how fast we were going.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I applaud you guys. And Mike, again, the sincerity of your voice when you're talking about Ted, when you and I are speaking off screen as well, and Ted, back to you. I think that's a beautiful thing to see. That may be something that only people that share the road like you guys can understand, a bond that only people like you can understand. I think it's beautiful that you guys are able now to illustrate it the way that you do. And again, preach positivity, because that's what I stand for as well. And I hope that the industry I'm in can take a page out of Ted's book and Mike's book and our next guest book, guys. We're starting with topic number 1, competition after all, but hey, it's competitive camaraderie. There's going to be respect, but at the end of the day, guys, who will advance to round number 3 will be Mr. Ted Dibiase, will be Mr. Mike Rotunda. We'll find out, guys, but we won't find out until we bring in our special judge right now. Guys and gals and pals, I'm going to welcome a dear friend. Until, guys and gals, right now, we haven't seen him in quite some time, but I always communicate with him, and I'll bring him in right now after the count of 3. I'm excited to reveal this surprise, as intrigue is the spice of life. Do you all agree? I dubbed what we do edutainment because we can learn and enjoy while keeping things light. My co-host is beyond humble, talented, gifted, and intelligent. When God created him, he got it right. We've chronicled his career and invited different guests as we talked about everything under the sun. If you're expecting gossip or innuendo, you won't get it here. Might as well turn around and run. Life, football, games, career, camaraderie, and merely a few words that begin to describe what we do. So kick your feet up and have some fun. You're all part of this crew. I wonder, guys and gals, if you can understand that right now it's winter, but it's about to get hotter than a southern Arizona tan. So cool off inside with us and put your hands together for an honest, kind, talented, and humble human being. Last name Hansen, first name Stan. Welcome, my friend Stan.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Stan.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. How can I follow that? Golly.
Thank you for being here.
How are y'all doing? Good to see you.
We're good, man. How are you, buddy?
Yeah. Golly, Mike, it's been a long time.
Long time.
I think almost the last time I remember we were in a movie theater up there in Jacksonville, Florida one time. Killing some time, and
wow.
And Teddy, of course, Teddy, I run across him a bunch. We used to live in the same county and everything, and but I moved off and everything. But Teddy's been there and went to West Texas, and I was there when he came as a high school recruit. And
that's right. Stan was a student assistant coach.
Yeah, I was an assistant coach.
Yeah,
sure.
Brings back some memories, right?
Yeah, it does. It's really great to see both of you guys.
In West Texas, Stan, would you concur? There's some people say there might have been something in the water in Robbinsdale, Minnesota for pro wrestling. There might have been something in the water in West Texas, because you're talking about Ted DiBiase, Stan Hansen, Dick Murdoch, Dusty Rhodes. If I'm not mistaken, Tito Santana, I think, West Texas.
Yeah, Tito's there. Tully Blanchard.
Barry
went there later, and
Barry Windham.
I think Barry went there too, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
Manny Fernandez, another guy.
Fernandez, he was good. I mean, a lot of those guys were after me, but they were probably around when Teddy was there.
Yeah,
sure.
Excuse me.
And guys, I want to say this as well. Of course, Stan and I have a show called The Lariat. There's 70 shows under this umbrella. Stan and I talk about all things life, of course. Mr. Class Personified. You remember Stan in this tournament with Mr. Kevin Farley. Guys and gals, Stan, again, I do want to say this again before we start off with this first topic, because Ted, Stan, and Mike, you guys were all well coached by some of the great minds in football and in pro wrestling, of course, and in amateur wrestling. Do you feel like the system is something that can create a winner? Because when people wonder, how do these teams always win? How do these teams always win championships? A lot of times it's not grabbing that star attraction or that free agent player that costs $30 million. A lot of times it's keeping that team together, finding a way to mold them together so they can have one purpose and one objective. Would you guys concur? You know better than I do.
I do.
Okay.
I say I concur. Look at the Detroit Lions. They're not a roster of over-the-top superstars. They're working together, they're playing together, and they're winning. And you look at the great Patriots teams. They had some good players, but they knew how to. It's the coaching. They know how to win. They know how to make. Biggest thing, you have to have coaching and a good core of workers and you have to know how to make adjustments in the middle of a game, not at the end for the next week. That's my thought process on it.
Sure.
And Mike, and I think you're right. I mean, go back to the Green Bay Packers under Vince Lombardi. Oh my gosh, what was it? 3 years in a row?
Yeah,
3 years in a row. They were it. And you can't do that without having a relationship as a team.
Yeah,
that's the deal. So.
I would agree with that. And again, guys, Ted, Stan, I know you told me about the coaching at West Texas and how instrumental that was. There was that story about the cake in the restaurant. That was a great story that we'll tell one day. But guys, Stan Hansen here in the capacity as one of our judges. And what's judging? Judging isn't this negative thing. We don't do that over here. Who resonated most with Stan? Who resonated most with you? I know it sounds sappy, but I'd rather be sappy than cynical in life. But who resonated most with you guys? Is it Ted? Is it Mike? We'll find out after topic number 1. I'll present it right now. Stan, any words for Mr. Ted Dibiase and Mike Rotunda before I put you backstage as you judge this first segment, my friend?
I'm glad y'all are in different locations. That way you won't be strangling each other.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Those days are done.
I love it. Guys and gals, the great Stan Hansen. I want to put you backstage momentarily, my friend. And thank you for giving us your time, Stan. I really appreciate you wholeheartedly, my friend. Absolutely for being who you are and being a fast friend for about 4 years now. Guys, topic number 1. I'll read this topic, and then Mike will tackle it first. He can go as long as he wants. Ted could tackle it again. They can rebut each other friendly if they want to. If they want to rebut each other, if Mike or Ted wants to rebut Mike, index finger goes up. I'll pop in. I'll make that rebuttal official, but that's not mandatory. They could if they'd like to. Topic number 1 is about games that inspire, because many people, especially kids, today don't see themselves as leaders because sports somehow has been considered this ugly word today, even though it can instill in us the skills that define good leaders, like we spoke about: empathy, communication, the ability to listen, positive reinforcement, methodical planning in the pursuit of our goals. Whether younger players grow up to use their leadership skills on the field, at school, at work, in volunteer pursuits, those lessons will prove their value again and again. What if we had the power, though, to change the world by sharing a game that inspired us with a world leader? What if this particular world leader made such a request? He's asking Ted, he's asking Mike, you want me to stop a world war from happening? Play this game for me. Let me be inspired. I'll agree to end this war if we somehow can inspire them by screening a classic sports game or a series that they once were able to talk about and revere so highly because it inspired them. So, Mike, if you could select any specific game or sporting event or series that you once watched or witnessed that was played between a couple of teams that could inspire even the most dastardly dictator, which game would you pick and why, my friend? Whenever you are ready to go, the floor is yours.
Well, that's a hard question, because there's so many games that people had no chance, a team had no chance, but they, stuck in there and made a comeback. I think I saw one at a very young age. I was 11 years old, and I'm talking about the 1969 Super Bowl with the New York Jets with Joe Namath and the Baltimore Colts. The NFL was so strong, the AFL was new, and NFL was going to just crush AFL. AFL had no chance in hell. And they went into that Super Bowl, and Joe Namath pulled out the win, and it changed the dynamic of the NFL because all these AFL teams had a chance now. And to me, I remember sitting there. I was probably, I think, 10 or 11 years old, sitting there watching that game, and it made a fan out of me for pro football, because in anything you can be the underdog and come back and beat somebody that's unbeatable. And I think if you were sitting at the right time in the right place with a dictator watching that, and he knew the explanation of what was going on, he might have second thoughts of, oh shit, I maybe shouldn't try to take this little country over because they may kick my ass. So, that's one train of thought.
Absolutely, yes. At the end of the day, if it spoke to you, and I know you guys know this as well. And Stan, I'm going to bring you in right now because I want to also applaud your excellence beyond the squared circle. What Stan Hansen did again in terms of the world of football, you guys know all too well how sports can inspire people. And those dastardly dictators, they got some hearts and souls in there. And maybe they just need someone like Mike Rotunda in this situation, in this fun scenario, or Ted DiBiase to inspire them, to remind them that they're still human. And maybe after watching the game that Mike Rotunda just illustrated, maybe some dastardly dictator can go, you know what? Maybe I should just settle down a little bit, watch a little football on Sunday, and I might think differently about some of these countries I want to destroy. You never know in life. Guys, Ted DiBiase, the same question I will ask you, good sir. If you could, in this very fictitious situation, but fun nonetheless, if you could select any game, sporting event, or series that you watched or participated in between two teams that could inspire even the most dastardly dictator, which game would you pick and why? The floor is yours, good sir.
Well, let's go back to football and again, go back to the Green Bay Packers way back. I mean, the first time I went to Green Bay, Wisconsin, I was shocked at how little Green Bay, Wisconsin is. And, and here the Green Bay, this is the city where the great Green Bay Packers came from. And again, there you have it, for the Green Bay Packers, it was Vince Lombardi. And there's a famous coach who coached at West Texas State, and I happened to miss him by, I think, a year. And Stan I forgot his name, but Stan, I'm sure, can tell you his name because he was one of those coaches that I heard stories. The team would win, but the coach was not satisfied with the performance, and so he would make them they put their cars all the way around like the practice field with the lights on, and after a game, he'd have them running wind sprints because he wasn't satisfied with the way they played the game. Now that's pretty brutal, but and again in our society today, in our nation today, I'm concerned about how strong is our military and are the people that are leading us, do they have the same grit that those people had way back in the early 60s?
Wow, well said, guys and gals. From Mr. Ted DiBiase, I appreciate that, my friend. Yeah, at the end of the day, you're talking about.
Can I
yes,
say
Mr. Rotunda, please. Yes.
I think it's about to change, Ted. That you're going to see some more guys come in there that are the guys you're talking about to be leading our country's military.
Bring this up, you guys again are so very astute and so very expressive about this because, lack of leadership, maybe that's what it boils down to. It's not about red or blue or white or green or blue. It's about leadership. It's about having someone that we could trust to lead us, not just here under this amazing roof that we call the United States of America, this dome that we're in, but also someone who understands foreign policy. Like, if you remember, there was no leadership at all. Kennedy dies in 1963, 1 year before Khrushchev gets, of course, kicked out as the premier. Even though they were back-channeling to make peace, the Pope was trying to back-channel between Khrushchev and Kennedy, but then Kennedy gets assassinated. Lyndon B. Johnson doesn't want to run again in 1968. Watergate happens with Richard Nixon. Gerald Ford and the Warren Commission gets chastised. He was a placeholder. Some people call him that anyway. Much more than that. And then, of course, in 1976, enter a peanut farmer from Georgia named Jimmy Carter, who wasn't really a true blue politician as well. 4 years after that, he can't negotiate with Iran. Ronald Reagan can. If you remember back then during the Iran hostage crisis, they didn't want to talk to Carter. They wanted to talk to Reagan. And by that, I bring this up, that it's not controversial to mention that you need to have a leader here in this country, a commander-in-chief, who's gained the respect of foreign leaders as well, because if not, they're not going to want to talk to us. They're going to shut us down completely.
Yeah, or ignore us.
Not only that, brother, but, the people who elected him, the current president, they don't like him anymore.
Talking about, don't think that policies are emphasized as much as they should be. I think it's a popularity contest, and I think it's so horrible right now that our media is able to illustrate this image of a person and really depict them as a hero or villain based on the narrative they want to set. I wish people could do their due diligence. I wish people could educate their minds and not have to trust any viewpoint unless they're doing their research. Gosh, I wish that could happen.
Exactly.
I'm with Ted, and I'm with Mike Rotunda, guys, and I'm with Mr. Stan Hansen. Stan, again, not only which viewpoint did you agree with and why, some of your own. Ted talked about some of the games that he would want to watch, that he would want a dastardly dictator to watch to maybe potentially end a war in this scenario. Stan, is there a game that really spoke to you above any else, my friend?
Well, I think both of them made some really good points, about, what they thought about and what was important for them and everything. I think, again, I've always been, I always felt like that the president, whoever it might be, needs to have, the benefit of the doubt that he's trying to do it the best way he can. And so they're not going to make everybody happy, and he's going to piss a lot of people off, and everything. But he has to do what he thinks is right. And then we have the checks and balances of the Congress. They just aren't going to give him a blank check. So, I think our government, with all of its failings, is still the best one.
Amen to that, Stan. Amen to that. Stan.
Anyway, is going back to Teddy and Mike. They both made really good points.
Sure.
So it's difficult for me to say that which one
sure
said it the best. I think they both did a good job.
And Stan, before I put you on the spot here, I got to ask you again: if there was a game off the top of your head that really inspired you, that you think could inspire somebody, it may not even be a dictator, it may be somebody who's hateful, maybe somebody who needs a good pick-me-up. Which game would you watch with someone who needs that good pick-me-up, something that really inspired you?
Well, I can't remember who brought up the, Joe Namath, and he came out of nowhere to win the Super Bowl. And he was way underrated and everything. And I think that he's the one that put the AFL on the map, showing that, by God, that they can compete with anybody. And I think that made pro football the tighter, better, and
yes, sir,
more concrete.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. And Stan, you shared a lot of great information about a particular football game when you were on with Kevin Farley about a year back. And guys, again, and look at this.
Just got to show you a picture here.
Let me pull up a photo. Ted, hold that up for a second, my friend. Look at this.
Yeah, I got that same picture.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, I threw darts at it.
Hey, Avi.
Yes, sir.
Is that bribing the judge?
Mr. Dibiase, Mr. Mike Rotunda is saying there might be some chicanery going on over here. I got to say this, Ted, to all our fans out there that don't know this, if I'm not mistaken, the last professional match that you wrestled was in Japan with Stan, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. Yeah,
93.
It was because it was after that I physically retired from the business. It's like my dad, although he was my stepfather, but again, he was not only a pro wrestler, but he was a national amateur champion. And wrestled and played football for Nebraska, and was only 45 years old when he had a heart attack and died.
Oh my gosh.
Arterial sclerosis, hardening the arteries. They know so much more about the heart and all that stuff.
Sure.
But, because of the impact that made on my life, I just made a promise to myself that, after 40, I said, as far as in ring, I'm going to cut it off. And I pretty much did that, and I stayed on and went back, as a manager and a ringside, and a commentator. I did some of that stuff, I still love the wrestling business, but it just, I was determined that I was going to physically retire, and I did.
Wow, that is incredible. And great to see you guys again together and to be able to really kind of let our audience know that the history that you guys were able to be a part of is something that inspired a lot of the younger wrestlers that I communicate with as well, and said, hey, a Ted DiBiase really inspired me, a Stan Hansen and a Mike Rotunda really inspired me. What we didn't hear about Joseph Root saying is that, Mike, just being backstage over there as an agent up north with the WWE, there were so many invaluable gems that you were able to spread and teach that they still are able to apply because of what you've done. And Ted, I'm going to say the same thing to you as well, my friend, but beyond just pro wrestling, there are many people that we can call friends, mutual friends, that have heard you speak before and have said, we got goosebumps. We don't know what we felt, but we felt something when Ted spoke, because we know that when Ted speaks, he also feels. He feels what he's saying. There's nothing mundane about that. And I just want you guys to hear that. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You deserve it. Absolutely, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. And Mr. Stan, I'm going to keep you on screen, my friend, because I'm going to zip the old lip and move on to topic number 2, and then we're out of here. I'll go backstage, but I got to ask you guys a couple of funny questions over here. Maybe you have an answer to this. Maybe we don't. If you don't have an answer, that's totally fine. But my first question to you is, I don't know the answer to that either. There's no answer to this. I just hope that maybe you guys, I find it also hard to believe that there are people who get in the shower first and then turn on the water. I've got an uncle that does this. Who does that? Do you actually do that, Mike?
Yeah, because if the nozzle is up like this and it's that big around, it's gonna hit me and it's cold water. So I see. And I start it, and once it gets warm, I put it back on me. So
I'm glad I met someone that does that. I was my whole world as a writer. This is what a writer does at night.
Really, it felt the other way. It was like you thought it was light, and it was like, oh.
Any of you like golf? Any of you play golf? Any of you enjoy playing golf?
I'm not a golfer.
Okay. Did you ever think about this? The object of golf is to play the least amount of golf. Think about that.
What you saying?
There's nothing profound about what I'm saying, but the object of golf is to play the least amount of golf.
Right.
Yeah. Play the game with as few strokes as possible.
Some funny, wacky observation, guys. Hopefully you guys can get me out of this stump and help me out here. But Mr. Ted DiBiase, Mr. Mike Rotunda, Mr. Stan Hansen, they know a thing or two about more than a thing or two. They don't want to delve into this stuff. They want to delve into topic number 2. And that's what we're going to get into right now, guys and gals. Our final topic. It's a bit thought-provoking. I'm going to start with Ted right now with this question, and then Mike. Ted, each situation's different, but overall, do you find it to be more difficult for you to forgive yourself or forgive other people when it comes to blunders, mishaps, or even mistakes? Whenever you're ready to go, good sir, the floor is yours.
I think I have trouble forgiving myself, when I blow it. And again, I wrote a book about it, I became a minister. I've never been a pastor of a church or anything, but I go around telling that story about how that I almost blew the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And that was my wife, Melanie, just because of my selfishness and the whole, next town, next show, next girl attitude. And that's the thing that I had to conquer. And when I did conquer it, I conquered it for good. And it's not an issue in my life anymore. But I don't know if that answers the question or not.
It most certainly does, and I appreciate that because it's always honest. Ted, do you think when it comes to forgiveness, is that also a two-way street? In order to forgive, does the other person have to receive and accept that forgiveness?
Yes, and that's again, that was equally surprising to me. I mean, because I had accepted the fact that I'd blown the greatest thing that happened in my life, and I knew that if any other woman heard that confession, that sure, she's gone. But my wife's response was this. She goes, "I serve a God of restoration, not divorce." And she goes, "I'm not going to make you any promises. I don't know if I'm strong enough to do this." She says, "I'm going to try." And she says, and know this, I'm not doing this for you because you don't deserve it. I'm doing that of a feeling that and for whatever reason in my heart that God wants me to give you another chance. And that's why she did it. And I took that ball and I ran with it, and everything has been great since.
Do you feel like you can? You feel like it's a loaded question, but do you feel like you can manifest the best as long as you don't have a hostile relationship with the truth? You can accept the truth, even if it's hard, even if it's painful, even if you don't want to look at the man or woman in front of the mirror and say, "Hey, I got to take some accountability over here."
Yeah, well, that's in all those issues, and every issue in life, you've got to look at that person in the mirror. You got to be honest with him first.
Sure.
If you're not honest with him, you're just pissing in the wind.
Could I do this? I mean, I guess I want to, and I'm going to kick it over to Mike. And guys, then Mr. Stan Hansen will let us know his thoughts. And we're out of here. I got about a 60-second tribute video that I put together for Mike and for Ted that I hope they enjoy. We're always going to speak the truth, but I don't think we will. I think we're going to keep going strong because, guys, this is the new network, and there's nothing better than speaking the truth. And Ted Dibiase does that every day of his life. If you guys get a chance to hear Mr. Ted speak, please do so. If you guys get a chance to hear his testimony, please do so. If you guys get a chance to really pause this video or rewind it and go back to these moments of passion that he provides verbally speaking, please do so, because that's a gift. That's rarity. You don't see celebrities do that. This man does, even though he doesn't have to. And so does Mike Rotunda, because he shared with us something last time, which I won't bring up, that was very personal and deep to him. And that means that at least he can feel comfortable here, because I want everyone to feel comfortable here. And Stan Hansen and I host the show, and we've done a lot of truth exploring of our own. Mike, I'll ask you the same question, my friend. Our second and final topic. Although each situation might be different, overall, do you find it more difficult for you to forgive yourself or other people when it comes to blunders, mishaps, or mistakes? Whenever you're ready to go, my good friend, the floor is yours.
Definitely myself, unless I'm working a tag match with Ted Dibiase and we lose, then it's Ted's fault. No, definitely myself. And I think you learn that at a young age in amateur sports, and especially in wrestling, because you can lose a football game and not take responsibility for missing a block or whatever. You can strike out or, make an error in a baseball game and not take, the blame for that. But the difference is when you go out in an amateur wrestling match and some guy's rubbing your face in the mat, you can't blame anybody else. And that's a good lesson to learn, and, going forward. And so you learn that lesson very early. Like I wrestled varsity my freshman year. I was 14. I wrestled some guys that were seniors. They were 18, 19-year-olds in the 215 weight class. I took my lumps, but I won about half my matches, but I took some serious lumps, and I learned that there's nobody to blame but yourself. So you can either get your ass in that wrestling room and get extra practice in, or go into tournaments in the summer to get better, so it's not going to happen next year, which it didn't.
Do you think a lot of that has to do with maybe our youth relying upon instant gratification, circa the internet, when they hear about going viral and taking these shortcuts towards success? Isn't that also a detriment to them? Let's assume that a Johnny Smith next door goes on TikTok and somehow puts out a video and it doesn't have much substance and he gets 5 million hits. He's not prepared for the success that he just got, right? Isn't that actually a hindrance and not a benefit for him in that scenario?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's a total different ball game these days. Everybody wants attention, but then once you get it, a lot of people aren't ready for that. Like in our business, you went through stages and you busted your ass, and then all of a sudden you're getting a little attention. Like people know who you are. You get put in a magazine or put on the cover of a magazine. You learn to take stuff in stride, as opposed to like you're talking about. They post something and 50 million people are TikToking it.
Right.
A young kid's not going to be ready for that. In most cases, So
yeah,
it is. It's a total different ball game these days compared to like when our era. So I don't have the answers for that.
Sure.
I don't know
sure.
if anybody does, because a lot of it's out of control, you know.
And Stan and Ted, the same question for you guys before. Again, we call it a day with this last topic. Do you think a lot of it has to do also with parenting, where right now, across the board, as a former teacher, I can tell you, a lot of parents that I've seen want to become their kids' friends as opposed to their parents. That doesn't benefit their children's growth either, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you know, it's kind of like, you know, my dad laid down the law, you know, early, and of course, you know,
sure,
you know, my dad and you know, a national amateur wrestling champion, you know, 4 years of football and wrestling at the University of Nebraska, and so that's a guy I didn't want to piss off in the first place, right? But I mean, he's, you know, he told me, he said, you know, they're gonna, you know, here's the rules.
Yeah.
And he says, there's two things I hate. He says, a liar and a thief. I hate, you know, if you steal something or if you lie about something, then there's hell to pay. Now there's other things that you know, get in trouble for, that kids get in trouble for. You know, you come in later than you're supposed to or whatever. And he says, and for those things, there'll be punishments. And most of those punishments for me was basically getting grounded, you know.
Right.
You know, it wasn't like, you know, getting a physical whipping. It was, you know, and to be honest with you, you know, a whipping's over in like 2 or 3 seconds, right? You know, bap, 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 you know, okay. But if you get grounded for a week, you know, you can't go out and play with the rest of your friends. That sets in a little deeper, and you're not gonna make that mistake again.
I never thought of that. That's so true. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah. You take that away from a kid, that's the worst thing. Unless we're talking 2024, where today, if you ground a kid, they got their Xbox up there, they got their phones. I have a friend who does that. He's an educator, he's a professor. And I said, just out of curiosity, because I don't judge, there's only one person that can up there and I can't. But out of curiosity, when you ground your child, are they in their room? Is it bare bones? What do they have in their room when you're grounding them? So they got their phone, they got their computer, they got their laptop, they got their devices, they got their video games. I said, then he's in heaven. He's not grounded. He's living the life right now. Yeah. I mean, I hate to tell you this, brother, but he's living the life. Stan, your father was from Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember you were telling me about that. He was from Brooklyn. Was your dad a disciplinarian, Stan?
You know, he wasn't in a way, but he did it in a way that he never got angry or anything. He laid down the rules, and pretty much I followed them, because if I didn't, then it was actually my mother who would come in and reinforce that I needed to do things. And that was good, but we growing up, I think it's really important as a father that we give our kids opportunity to make amends, to feel sorry, to learn through discipline, and it doesn't always have to be. I mean, I've whipped all my kids, a couple of times in their lives, but never, everybody wants to put it like it's some kind of child abuse or something, but it's just a reinforcement of what needs to be done. And if you do that in the right and loving way, your kids end up respecting you and also learning that there is a price to pay for doing something wrong.
Yeah, I totally agree, Stan. I mean, like I said, I mean, I got 2 whippings, in my whole life, but 2 physical whippings. The rest of it, it was being grounded, or okay, you gotta clean off the table and do the dishes every night for the next
right.
There was some punishment, but it wasn't physical.
Sure. And Mike, was that sort of similar to you? Were your parents disciplinarians at all, or?
Yeah, you didn't want to piss my dad off for sure.
Okay.
But what I did was I was smart enough. I was no angel, and I was smart enough not to get caught in a lot of stuff I did.
Well, I lived down 180 acres of land.
Right.
I lived down 100.
Well, Mike, what'd you learn from that?
Oh my gosh.
You know, I was smart enough not to get caught because I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, a lot of land to roam around there.
I got a couple of pretty good ass beatings myself.
I hear that.
But, you know, my dad wasn't. It was more of a disciplinarian type thing. But like I said,
sure,
I was no angel. So
I can concur because you know what? Many moons ago, but all these years later, I remember one of the last things I told my dad when he was, literally on his deathbed in the hospital a few weeks back. Well, I said, Dad, do you remember? I have to confess something to you. Do you guys remember something called 777 Film? It was an automated number that you called, and they would give you movie listings in case you wanted to make a date with your wife or your gal, and you wanted to see a local movie nearby. 77 Film would tell you where you can watch that movie. It would give you all the cineplexes and where to go. It was automated. You would call this number, and you'd hear the operator. Now, I would call 777 Film at midnight on a Saturday or a Friday night as a 15-year-old, because back then, if one of my 4 girlfriends called me up at the time, the ringer wouldn't be on. I'd get the call waiting so it wouldn't wake up my dad or my mom. So I'd be on 77 Film for an hour and a half going, where's Denise? Why isn't she calling me? Where's Cheryl? Why isn't she calling me? And I'm waiting for them to call me. And when they finally did, all I had to do was boop, click a button. My parents wouldn't be the wisers. They wouldn't know that I got this call. And I'd be out and about going on the night on the town until 4 a.m., a 15-year-old kid. And I told my dad that story. And he looked at me and he said, I would have done the same. And then I thought he had more pearls of wisdom, and he told me,
there you go.
And I kneeled over and he said, what is it, Dad? Give me some water. But not a man of many words. But anyway, as kids, I guess it's great to be able to look back in retrospect and say, hey, they're learning lessons, but at the end of the day, you guys are parents that are also teaching me. And I want you to know that as I sit back here, I'm not Mr. Moderator guy. That's why I think makes the show a bit different, is we're able to have a living room style conversation and learn from each other. And you guys have given me a lot of gems that I could always play back and learn from. So thanks for your time. Thanks for your wisdom. But I guess right now, Stan, I'm sorry. You might have to sweat a little bit because you got to vote. Who are you voting for, Mr. Stan Hansen? Is it Mike Rotunda or Ted Dibiase? Who resonated most with you, my friend?
Oh, my God.
I'm sorry.
Well, I've known Teddy for a long time.
Yes,
so sir. Got to say, down. I'm with you, Teddy. I'm sorry.
That's cool.
Well, that's fine. We're gonna find out who our viewers vote for. So, guys, we don't know who advanced just yet. We're gonna find out what you guys have to say, and we'll find out who moves on to round number 3. And I do have to ask Mike, Ted, and of course, Mr. Stan Hansen if they'd like to answer this. You're waiting for a reservation. You're at a restaurant. All right, you're sitting there. There's this table. They're done eating already. They're finished eating. But you got this reservation, and they're still sitting there. Is it okay to ask a lingering table to hurry up, guys? Come on. I'm waiting. Come on, guys. We got a party of 4 here. Is it okay to ask a table to get up and leave?
I think what I would do is I would go to whoever the waiter was, whoever was seating these people.
Right.
I would tell him, get their ass out of that table because we're waiting to eat. They can go.
Yeah.
This is a place to eat, not to, carry on, with whatever.
At somebody, of course, not purposely, just ran right into your knees when you're on an airplane.
1,000 times.
Oh my gosh. Really, Mike? Oh my gosh. And you don't say anything usually? Or?
I sat behind Undertaker and Papa Shango on an overseas flight. I was back here, and this is like when we were working. I was still wrestling. And this guy in front of him kept reclining the seat in front of Taker. And every time he did, Taker would go, wham! He'd double shiver. And then the flight attendant would come back down there, and he'd be like, he was asleep, and the guy would be bitching, and he's doing this, and the lady, the flight attendant's looking at him. It went on for half an hour. So,
yeah, I once had a child who I thought was pure evil, because this child was crying to his mom kicking the chair, and within a second of me asking the mom politely to please make sure her child doesn't kick the chair as I'm trying to sleep, no, he turned his head and gave me this Damien look. Like I said, "Oh my God, I'm not messing with this child over here." But the things that happen on airplanes, I'm just saying there should be some airplane etiquette. That's all I'm saying. Airplane etiquette, guys. Again, who's to say we can't have positive, clean fun? We do it over here every single Saturday night, thanks to men like Ted Dibiase, men like Stan Hansen, men like Mike Rotunda. Stan, my good friend. Before I play the tribute to Mr. Ted Dibiase and Mr. Mike Rotunda, anything you'd like to tell Mike and or Ted, my friend?
Well, I mean, it's just great. You know, I've been out of the business, 10, 15 years. I can't even remember. But it's great to come across you, Mike, and, of course, Teddy. You know, it's I mean, you're two guys that I was really excited to find out that I was going to be seeing you guys on this show and everything. It's just a pleasure to see you again. You know,
thank you.
There's fewer and fewer people that I really know that are still around, man. And it feels so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Ditto, buddy. Ditto. Good to see you too, Stan.
Yeah, well, thank you. You can tell the real truth after you sign off.
Stan Hansen, guys and gals. If you can hang out backstage, my friend, I'll get to you in one moment because I do want to talk to you about the Lariat, my friend. Guys, Stan Hansen and I, for Ted and for Mike, I'll send you guys the show. We cover everything when it comes to the Lariat life, and we talk about things much like you men do as well. Because my objective, Ted and Mike, is to, whether it's a celebrity I know from film and TV or a pro wrestler, is to make sure that I can provide a platform for you guys where you can peel back the layers, where you're not in that box, where you don't have to remember your opponent back in 1987, what color boots that they wore, because there are things that are more important in life, such as your faith, such as your respect, your dignity, while still celebrating what you guys did and your professional accomplishments, but doing it in a way that isn't all about fandom. It's about real life conversations. And I want you guys to always feel comfortable talking about anything you want over here, because there'll be no sponsor or suit and tie that will get in the way of that. I promise you guys that. Mr. Mike Rotunda, I want to play something for Ted and then you. It's about a 60-second tribute for Ted and then for you, my friend. Anything you'd like to tell Ted or vice versa?
No, Ted, I'm good to see you're doing well, you know, and I know you went through some stuff and you just have to thank your lucky stars that you married a good woman.
Amen. Amen, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I'm going to play a video for you momentarily. I'll bring you up on the screen in about a minute or so, Mike, and thank you for that. Ted, my first question for you, my friend, is did you have a nice time, my friend?
Had a great time.
Oh, appreciate that. It means a lot, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and again, of course, you know, Mike and I were partners, you know, like longer than Stan and I were, but, you know, when, you know, this is another Japan story, you know, in Japan, you know, it's like there were two major wrestling companies, All Japan Pro Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling. And, you know, Stan and Bruiser Brody, they were like the team for All Japan. Brody jumps ship and goes to work for the new company. And Stan came to me and he says, I need a new partner. Are you interested? And asking me that question, knowing what that meant, that would be that my answer was like, is a pig split pork? Yeah, hell yeah, I want it. I'll take it. And so he offered me that opportunity, and I enjoyed it. And there are still times now when I think, golly, I just wonder if I should have just kept going in Japan. You know, I mean, it was kind of.
And Baba was an honorable person to work for, right?
Oh yeah, very honorable person to work for, and so you know sometimes I wonder maybe I should have just stayed with Stan and done it that way, but but then of course a lot of the other things that have happened as a result of me going to the WWE, you know, wouldn't have happened. So you know, anyway, but you know, some of my best times, you know, some of my best memories are from wrestling in Japan.
Well, you're carving out some really cool memories right now, my friend, for our audience and for a lot of people, and for yours truly. And I appreciate that. And that's why I want to play the following for you on screen. Hope you enjoy it. Guys and gals and pals, this is yours truly, Avi Klein, playing the following for Mr. Ted Dibiase. All about family, and
wow,
I could tell you, my friend, your presence is a present, because even though we don't know each other very well, starting to get to know you has been a real present and a gift because of the truth and honesty that you share. It makes me a braver person. It makes me a more courageous person, and that's from my heart.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. And hey, if there's anything I can do for you going forward, I'm here. You just call me.
Thank you, my friend. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the evening, my friend.
I do. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Avi. Thank you.
You deserve it.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Guys, Mr. Ted DiBiase is class personified, and he needs to hear that because he touches a lot of people. And hopefully we could do more of that here, is to do be of service to people who have been of service to many, like you, Mike. Come on down, my friend.
Thank you, Avi.
This is for you, my friend. I hope you enjoy it. Guys and gals, the great Mike Rotunda. Thank you, my friend. I know you already know that, man, but I just wanted to let you know, just from a casual observer, my job as a writer is to observe, and you know who you are when your peers give you a universal respect, but you also know who you are when your family is there for you every step of the way. And without getting into detail, because I'm not going to, I know that in 2025, you're going to overcome everything you got in front of you. And I say this from the heart, and I hope it resonates. Anything you need from me, you got a friend in me, and I promise you that I'll be there for you any step of the way, my friend.
Goes two ways. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. You have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. The great Mike Rotunda. Guys, Stan, two marvelous human beings.
Wow, yeah. I mean,
two incredible human beings.
You know, it's so nice to see both those guys and touch base. I'm pretty well separated from everybody in the business, and that's by choice in a lot of ways.
Sure.
But
Sure.
It is really nice to see Teddy and Mike again. And, you know, I knew Teddy, of course, a lot more than Mike, but I was around him a number of times. And
getting to know Mike, though, getting to know Mike, I got to tell you something. Like, he reminds me of everyone that I looked up to when I was a kid. Uncles, I'm talking about, cousins, you know, people in your family, because he's just such an honest guy that doesn't demand anything. He's easy to speak to. He cares about people. I want the world. That's my objective, to humanize these great people who've been there for their fans and who traveled up and down the road and put their bodies on the line to support their families like you, and went through pain and went through surgeries and are still paying the price physically for entertaining a child in the front row who, you know, whose dad paid a ticket to watch them wrestle. That's something special.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you know, I never ever took myself as too serious, even though I was a serious wrestler, and I, you know, but I know that you know, it takes two and sometimes three to tango, and you know, I was around a lot of really great partners and people that helped me along the way. You know, Terry Funk got me in the business. You know, I used to just call him up out of the blue and say, "Thank you, Terry."
Did I tell you about the Terry Funk story with Billy Bob Thornton? Thornton used to watch Amarillo Promotions. Yeah, where Terry's dad, Dory Sr., ran the territory there.
Right. That's where I broke in.
Billy Bob was a fan. He would go watch the wrestling matches there. And he was one of those very loud fans who got in Terry's face until Terry got so mad at this little whippersnapper, as he called it. He got him in the ring and gave him a spanking in front of He gave a young Billy Bob, before he was an actor. He gave him a spanking, and Billy Bob said, "You know what? I needed to respect wrestling even more than I thought I did. And after that spanking, I sure did."
That's good. That's a great story. Yeah. You know.
Terry was I didn't know him even 1% as well as you did, but when he walked into that room, he had a presence, and his stories were always funny, and he always had a way of kind of just bringing people together with his storytelling and his antics. He was a treasure, huh, Stan?
He was. He's one of the most dynamic individuals, unique personality that I mean, he was just. I think he represents. I wish I could think of the term but he is the classic pro wrestler, and you know, I mean, I obviously copied him in a lot of ways, and there are a lot of people that did, and he was my style type of guy, and I mean, we got to know each other in a bar in Amarillo, you know. I mean, it was, and he knew, because when I got there, everybody said, "God, you look just like Terry Funk," and you know, so
I see. Okay.
People told Terry, "Hey, there's a freshman kid that looks so much like you," you know. So we had people kind of put us together in a way, and then once we got to know each other, we stayed in touch, and you know, we've been friends ever since.
Do you feel just to kind of talk about this, because of course our show, The Lariat, it's been really resonating with a lot of people. So to kind of end with this, do you feel like when you hear a lot of, I guess, compliments from some of the younger wrestlers who say, I watched Stan Hansen in the ring, I know you don't ever put yourself over. I know you don't. But do you feel good knowing that your work helped advance somebody else in their craft known as pro wrestling by watching your style?
Well, I mean, to me, that's just a great compliment, you know. And like I said, I don't take compliments. I mean, they're well appreciated, and I do, because I've had I've had the knock too, you know. So the compliments are much more nicer. But I mean, it is nice to hear people say, "Well, they made me watch a bunch of your tapes and everything." And these are like younger guys that are getting the kind of push in Japan now, or way after me or whatever. And they said that to me, and you know, that's a great compliment, and I think that's about the best compliment I could have.
It's across the board. A lot of the people that, of course, have been on the show, but people that you know as well, they pay tribute to your work because your work was so honest. In acting, we always say that. I teach an acting class, and I always tell the actors, your work has to be honest because it has to resonate with people. And your work in the ring was honest. You respected the business so much that when people worked with you, they knew they better be able to put their big boy pants on and work with Stan Hansen because, hey, this is going to be something that's going to make sure that people watching will respect across the board.
Well, I mean, it's called being stiff. I was a stiff. I take my glasses off. Everything is wide open. You know?
He said, sorry, Javi, I have my glasses on.
What a great guy he is. I mean,
yes, such a sweet guy.
Really great guys.
But I like what he told me.
These fans. And then over the years, they slowly became a little more verbal and everything. And in the States, I mean, from day one, man, you better take care of yourself. Get ready to defend yourself, because if you were a heel, you know, people were going to come after you, you know, and I mean, that happened, I mean, a whole lot back when I first broke in, you know. And
I heard that if you don't let them know that you're there in the ring, some of the Japanese guys, if you're a gaijin, they'll eat you up. Is that true?
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, naturally so. I mean, it's their country, and you know, and it's their company. I mean, they're living there every day, you know, and so they fought, and that's what made pro wrestling in Japan so successful.
And you were right there.
As fought.
And you were on top of that mountain. That's why I want to bring in somebody really quickly right now, because Stan, you were part of this tournament. You went up against Kevin Farley. This man over here has what I call a green ticket that he's been holding on to, that he can give to anyone he'd like and bring him back into this celebrity tournament. After what you watched tonight, a great conversation between our two competitors. You were the judge for tonight's matchup. I think he'd like to bring you in. I also think he might want to invite you to his very show. He's one hell of a human being. He's one of the smartest people I know. He's an independent pro wrestler, Stan, that has succeeded so well, but he's got a beautiful heart. He's all about family. He respects you very much. Mr. Kelly White, welcome.
Thank you, Avi. Hello, Mr. Hansen. How are you, sir?
Wow, how are you doing? Yeah.
Well, I'm not doing too bad, really. We got a nice day here in West Virginia. It's about 60 degrees and sunny. How's it down there? You're down in Texas, ain't you?
What'd you say? I'm sorry, I missed it.
I said you're down in Texas. How's the weather there?
Oh well, you know, I'm actually up in Colorado right now, and the weather is gorgeous. So.
Oh, all right. I figured you.
But I mean, I'm from Texas and everything, but I've been in Colorado a little while, you know.
And I don't want to speak for Kelly because the man is got a genuine heart, and there's also a wordsmith. He won't say it, so I will. He's one of the smartest guys I know. But I also know, Stan, if Kelly, if you don't mind, I know that your work really inspired Kelly White. Your in-ring work really inspired him, Kelly.
Absolutely. That that raw edge that you brought to each and every match. That was, I'll be the first to tell you, I wasn't the greatest at executing. I sure as hell wasn't pretty. I wasn't.
Well, who was?
But I always strived to make it so nobody can say it wasn't real.
Right. Yeah. I think that was my attitude too. I mean, I think that's what people will remember me. And I was on the stiff side, but I mean, I wasn't trying to kill people or hurt them or anything. I wasn't the toughest guy in the ring. Lots of times there's a lot of tough guys out there.
But when I watch your work, Stan, and I watch Kelly's work, right, it makes me go, man, that's what I should have done. Maybe I wouldn't have stunk so bad in the ring if I watched Stan Hansen and Kelly White.
You always say that, but some people,
pretty bad to watch.
I'm sure Stan will agree with this. When you work that style, sometimes you take some lumps, sometimes you get some lumps, and every now and then you get a receipt you really didn't want.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and the thing is, whatever the style was, I've had four different joint replacements, and they want to say it's fake, and I've always taken offense of that, because if it was fake, it would be like the people in Hollywood that misses and you just act up.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we hit each other, and when you get slammed to the mat, all your innards all go to the back. I mean, it's hard. It's tough. It's
Kelly,
tough.
just your day to day. If you don't mind me just expressing this, your day to day is harder than maybe someone who didn't. I guess pay their dues in the ring after all these years of you wrestling, because getting up can be a task, working out can be a chore, moving around can be one of the biggest hardships that you have to encounter on a daily basis. Is that right?
Unfortunately, it's gotten to that point.
It really has, yeah. But guys, I want to let you know, Stan, Kelly White, one of the favorites in this tournament. He's got this ticket. He's been telling me for months he'll let me know who he's going to hand it to. Something tells me I'm going to find out right now with the rest of us watching. Kelly, I'm going to go backstage and give you the floor with Mr. Stan Hansen, the one and only Stan Hansen.
All right. Well, Stan, Avi's talked about it a bit. I've done pretty well on our other show where you're allowed to win a few prizes and stuff that help you out in the tournament because, well, as well as I know, I don't have the pull a person such as you do. I don't quite have the recognition being independent. So, we got a little leg up, but I did so well for myself. I actually ended up with a green ticket for myself and one that I am allowed to pass on to one of the more illustrious folks such as yourself. And I'm happy to do that. I would ask, is this something you really want to get back into and take it to some folks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to be back in it. I like to stay involved, and I think it's important mentally and everything to try to, stay involved.
It's I don't know, it's a bit of a mulligan. It's like when you get thrown over the top and your feet don't quite touch and they all think you're out, but you flip yourself back in. And this gives a person a chance to do that. And Stan, like I said, you did inspire my career. You have all my respect.
Yeah.
And if you really want back into this thing, I'm going to give you that green ticket, let you come back in and just whoop some ass, bub.
Well,
yes.
I mean, I'd be foolish not to take you up on it, and I really appreciate it. I mean, are you sure you don't want to keep it or whatever? I don't know exactly, how it works, but
I've got one of my own.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm not out nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'd appreciate that. I'd love to be involved and go forward in the tournament and everything.
Yes, sir.
I mean, this is fun. I mean, I've had a great time today.
I appreciate that, man, and so have we. Kelly J. White, I'll put you back momentarily. Guys, we might see Stan and Kelly on Indie Tales. That'll be a great conversation. I'll be the one backstage, and Kelly will do what he does, which is direct traffic so well. Kelly, thank you for joining us tonight, my friend.
Hey,
Yeah,
brother,
nice
my
to see you,
pleasure.
Kelly. Yeah.
Hey, it's been my pleasure. Stan, consider yourself tagged back in, brother. Y'all take care.
You too, my friend.
Thank you.
Kelly White, the one and only Kelly White. Stan, my friend, did you have a nice time tonight?
I did. I had a great time, both Teddy and, golly, I mean, I didn't get to know Mike Rotundo, really well. I was just around him a number of times and everything, but he's one of the guys that everybody has something nice to say.
He was so happy to see you, and they were so genuinely surprised. So again, if you don't mind, I'm going to continue surprising you on the Larry at our show with some guests who some you know, some maybe who you don't know, who watched your great body of work, and they're going to continue letting you know how you inspire them, my friend. And hey, congrats on being back in the tournament too.
Yeah,
you're such a big part of this, and I'm glad. It's like this is probably the most fun that we can have on a computer these days. This is a blast to be able to do this.
Right.
And as you know, we're always keeping it positive, always keeping it fun, always keeping it clean. That's what we're showing the world out there. They don't have to get into the nasty stuff. We can have fun, do it clean, celebrate each other, have a good old time, and that's what it's all about here. You're a big part of that, my friend, and I hope you and your family have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Absolutely, my friend. Guys and gals, the great Stan Hansen, the absolute great Stan Hansen. We kick it over to you right now, guys and gals and pals. You'll vote on who resonated most with you, Mike Rotunda or Ted Dibiase. We will see what you have to say right about now.
Oh my God! Stan Hansen back in the freaking tournament.
Wow, I didn't see that coming.
No, I didn't either.
That is awesome. Oh. This is awesome.
This is awesome.
This is awesome.
This is awesome.
Lariat back.
Awesome.
Lariat's back. Yes. Yes.
Man.
Unbelievable.
Man. He is such a force to be reckoned with, and there are so many of these. The competition is thick, okay? I'm so happy to see him, but I'm nervous. You know what I mean? I'm nervous for my match tonight down there with Ramon on the post show for the black box tournament for the other green ticket,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Same here. Same here. I know how good you are.
You don't look nervous. You don't look nervous, Ramon.
You got a response to that, Ramon?
Look, on the inside, I got to show that I'm ready to go. On the inside, I know how much of a competitor you are. I know how seriously you take this, and I know how good you are. You went up against some legends in round 1 and round 2, so I am very, very nervous, but that doesn't scare me. I'm going to go out, and I'm going to do everything that I can to get back into this tournament because I need it. I need it.
We all need it. You trying to lure me in? You trying to lure me in? Make me feel comfortable? Is that what's going on here, Ramon? Don't play head games with me, okay? Play head games with me. We all know how important this is. My energy's off a little bit this week. I've been here a long time. Don't sit there and look at me with the snide look. I've been here a long time, okay?
And you know what? I give you all of the respect in the world for that. You have done so much for TKN. I'm just starting off. I'm learning from you, pal. But I gotta beat you tonight. I gotta do it.
No, you know what, Jamie? Jamie, you said something pretty powerful there. And it's something you can't ever forget. Anytime you are on screen, Jamie, anytime you and me are on screen, there is something I always remember. And that is that you are a Green Room original. And yes, I respect Ramon. And yes, I respect Chad and Larry and all those guys. But there is a prestige to be held. There's an honor to hold. That is part of what that phrase means, to be a Green Room original. So, Jamie, don't you ever forget that, brother. Don't you ever forget it, okay?
In here, okay? And sometimes it's even up here on like a chip on my shoulder. But yeah, I'll never forget that part. All right. I'm sorry if I was a little off, Ramon. Okay.
Hey, don't worry, man.
Let's get to these amazing topics. Okay.
Yeah. Ramon, you down there with Allison?
Yes. Yes.
They want to bring you back, but you have to earn it tonight.
I plan on earning it. I plan on it. Listen,
the kid's ready.
I know that I know how important this is. I plan on earning it. I don't want to just be someone who just got back in just because. I don't want a sympathy vote. I don't want that. I want the biggest thing I need all of you guys' respect. That's it. I don't want to be able to come in here and just say that I got in because, you know, just I was handed it. I want to earn it. I want to fight for it. That's going to make me feel much better inside.
No one's handed anything here, brother. No one's handed anything. He gives us all a platform, but, you know, yeah, no one's handed anything without a doubt.
You earned your way into this tournament in the first place. So there's a very strong possibility you can do it again this evening and get back in. And we already have one green ticket that was given away tonight. That's pretty exciting.
It's amazing. I didn't see that coming.
Stan is back. I mean, Stan is back. And there was something I just want to share real quick. I mean, this guy is like royalty in Japan. I think any wrestling fan pretty much knows this. But he's such a humble human being, and he has such great chemistry anytime he's on there with Avi and what those guys kind of give back and forth. And Stan is back. We need a yeehaw at some point. I don't know.
Yeehaw! Okay. I feel better. I feel better.
Nervous yeehaw. I love it.
I think we need a yeehaw after we vote, because
yes.
these topics tonight were kind of, I don't know, they were really great. That first one especially was very inspirational. We have more debates to come tonight, more matches with Jamie and Ramon on the post show after the outro. So stay tuned right here. Stay to the end of the outro so we see next week's match. And then in a couple of minutes, hit that refresh button on the YouTube page for the post show, where we will see Jamie and Ramon in the final round 1 black box mini tournament match for the final green ticket.
Yes.
You put your passion just now.
Guys, if you thought this match tonight was amazing, stay tuned, because the outro will give you it'll let you know exactly what's coming up next Saturday. So guys, I mean,
yes,
we saw what we saw tonight. I did not expect Stan. Stan came in.
No.
All the surprises are going to be coming in left and right at any moment. So if you want to know what we're going to be doing next Saturday, guys, just stay tuned for this amazing outro. It's going to in your face.
Absolutely. Right before that was Christopher Fernan. Wow, this is a real tough one. Both Ted and Mike did so well, but Ted really made me think and hit home with me with his words. Brother, you're not even joking. He hit me hard with this first one. Michael Gross says, my vote goes to Ted.
Okay.
The Spanish Fly, Angel Miguel Torres. I'm going with Ted Dibiase.
Nice.
Ted is sweeping this thing. Joey, I vote for Mike first, then second, going with Ted. So that was 1 for 1 topic and then 2. Okay, all right. I hear you, Joe.
And then we got Killer Purple Giraffe. My vote is for Ted.
Nice.
Yes.
And then the awesome.
Well done. Back in the tournament. We all better take notice. I agree with that.
and then our own awesome Phil Donahue. It is gone, so we will forget about that comment from our amazing Phil Donahue.
Yeah. Julio Negron says this one is a full split to me. First round, I got Mike taking it, but second round, I got to go with Ted. This was such an even match. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. Yes.
For Eric, Ted Dibiase first, and then Mike with the second topic. All right. Thank you, Eric. Love it. Love it.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming, guys.
I'm loving these.
Love those comments.
Yeah. You guys are doing amazing.
Remember,
We love
everybody, there's a
to
lot on
resonate
the
it with
line. We need these people in round 3. So without your votes, they can't get in. So vote.
Yeah.
That's
Just keep on voting. Keep them coming. This is what this is all about. This is your voice.
Time Allen. My vote goes to Ted, then Stan. Okay.
Stan wasn't competing tonight. Stan just got back in.
Yes.
Well, yeah. He's already getting votes.
Already getting them.
Larry Lemley, topic 1, Ted. Topic 2, Mike.
Nice.
Johnny McKinney. I vote for Ted.
All around. Wow. Love it. Ed Husser says, wish I could give a half vote, but if I have to, I vote Ted. All right, Ted.
Nice.
Allison says, I
vote for Mike Rotunda tonight.
Yes.
Yes, the post show is coming up very soon with TKN headlining that match.
Let's go. Post show, Gus.
All right.
I'm a Ramon fan. Dude won me over. TKN megastar in the making.
No bias, Gus. No bias, Gus. You know that every week.
I see it.
No bias.
Thank you, Fat Gus's endorsement. Hashtag
Warriors, let's go.
Yes.
Pierre Kelly with the reminders. Thank you, Pierre. Yeah, refresh. After we are done with this broadcast, after the amazing outro, stay tuned for the outro before we go. Refresh, and then our amazing post show will be right on your screens.
Good question, Eric.
Okay, are the green tickets physical? And if so, can you display one on screen? Eric, yes, they will be physical, and yes, you'll be able to flash those bad boys right on the screen. Maybe even blow your, use them as a fan. Maybe that's what I would do.
You have to get that green ticket first, Howard, before you can use it as a fan.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. Larry Lemley. Oh man, I was gonna
overall TKN. What a guy.
Love you, Larry.
And thank you, Ed.
Spanish Flyer
did a great job in wrestling. He was a tough competitor and showman. His Erwin R. Shyster gimmick was indeed original.
Yes, it was. Absolutely. We all remember that. Sharon Majid voting for Ted, but everyone was amazing tonight. Absolutely. You're completely right.
Ted.
And Gus, topic 1, Ted. Topic 2, Mike.
Time Allen. Ted, then Stan.
A lot of love for Stan tonight. I love it.
It's an amazing event.
Love, amazing event.
Yeah.
You were fun.
Fun, Howard.
You were fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. All around, right now I'm having fun, Alexander.
Absolutely.
And wait for the post-show dance-off. That's right.
Oh, he's trying to steal the show. But before we do that, Chad, the panel needs to vote. Let's get her done, buddy. What are your thoughts on topic 1, brother?
Well, topic 1, before I get into it, I just want to remind everybody, please, after we're done, the outro, give us 5 to 7, 8 minutes. Hit the refresh, okay? We have the amazing post show, which you are going to see our own Jamie Sparling take on Ramon Solomon. I want to see all of you guys there. Bring your friends, family, and vote. These 2 men need this green ticket, and they want your votes. So please join us. So, going into topic number 1, everybody, it was a pleasure to judge this very, very much once again. The topic was any given event that would inspire a dictator, whether it be sporting, any kind of event like that. Mike gave a great breakdown. The 1969 Super Bowl, Jets versus Colts. He gave great breakdown and his personal experience on watching the game. It was just great. You know what I mean? And he hit a lot of great points. But I think I'm going to have to give it to Ted when Ted brought it down to the Green Bay Packers, and he made it clear you don't need to be the biggest to win anything. And that includes his tournament. You know what I mean? So, I mean, small little countries, you may think that they can be overrun just by somebody rolling over them. That's not true. It's all on how you play the game and, you know, on your tactics. So for topic number one, I'm going to have to hand this one to Ted. That's my vote. How are you going to vote on this one, Giselle? Are you going to vote for Ted or are you going to vote for Mike?
Wouldn't you like to know, Chad? And you will, because it's time to find out who I am voting for. And remember, after we all vote, we have an outro. And after we have an outro, we have the post show. So stay right where you are, hit that refresh button, grab some water, grab a snack, and then stick around for the after party and the match between Jamie and Ramon, because that is going to be one heck of a match. It is the final round one match in the Black Box mini tournament. So you want to be there and find out who is advancing to round two, which will begin this very Wednesday on the Black Box, which is now streaming right here on our YouTube channel. So we have a lot going on here at TKN, and you don't want to miss any of it. So if you're here watching and you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for the rest of this show, for the rest of our votes. If you haven't voted yet, get those in the comments and hang around for the post show, because that is going to be a really good time tonight, which is saying a lot because we have freaking Stan Hansen back in this tournament too. But you want to know who I am voting for this evening. And for topic number one, my vote is going to Mike Rotunda. He was very specific with his time frames and his reasonings wise, and how all of this was important and what it made him feel watching these games, and how he thinks that can translate to other people watching the games as well. So he talked about his own experience, but also gave us the sense that this can be a universal shared experience. So I am voting for Mike Rotunda on this first topic. Howard, your turn in the hot seat.
Yeah. Great analysis there, Giselle and Chad. Guys, again, if you love what you are watching and you love this match that you just watched, if it blew your mind, blew your heart, well, stay tuned, because the outro is going to let you know what's going to be happening next Saturday, live 8 p.m. Eastern. All right. And if you are just loving what this banter and these amazing personalities, and if you're loving the spirit and the sport of the mind called a debate, stay tuned, because in the post show, we are going to see Ramon go at it with Chad, and that is going to be mind blowing. I promise you that. So stay tuned, guys. We got so much more happening. So in terms of my vote, so Mike went with the 1969 Super Bowl, with the Jets and the Colts, the Broadway Joe Namath, and Ted went with the Green Bay Packers. Both kind of gave a good analysis of both of those matches, but I sided over ultimately with Mike. Reason being, Mike gave this really kind of beautiful piece of storytelling where he kind of embodied what the dictator would say once he responded to the game's outcome, and I think he said, "Oh, fill in the expletive." And I thought that was kind of cool. It put me right into the kind of that moment of what that might look like when the dictator is watching this game. So my vote goes to Mike, and then I'm kind of curious what the man of the hour, Ramon, is thinking. Ramon.
Ooh, yes, 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 yes. This was an absolute treat to watch. And as everyone has stated, stay tuned for the post show where myself and Jamie will compete to see who will win that green ticket. It is going to be amazing to watch. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. Refresh your browser. Watch that post show. You won't regret it. Now, as for my vote, I am actually going to go with Ted on this one. Pretty much everything that Chad was saying was honestly some of what I was thinking when he was breaking this down, because like I looked at his answer and a lot of what I was thinking was like, yeah, it's not really all about like the big dogs. You know, you can do this through tactics and strategy and really resonating with the people. And that is really what made me go with Ted for this one. So Ted honestly gets my vote for round one or topic one. But I really would love to know.
Oh.
Ooh. Hello. I see my name down there.
Uh-oh. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. I would love to know what Jamie thinks. That's what I want to know. But, ooh boy. Ooh boy. Ooh, from the man himself. The big dog. That's me. That's me.
Yeah.
No, that's me. Respect you, Jamie, but I'm the big dog. I got to.
All right. Well, anyway, as Roman had said here, and he was talking about tactics and whatnot, I see you. Ramon, I see you. Okay? I see you. I've been here a long time. There's been lots of Ramones, okay? All right? So, all right? That wasn't even meant. Look.
Okay.
No, hey, a little off today. All right? So I'm not sleeping well.
Been thinking about being that much?
I'm having dreams. But all right, so topic number one. Giselle, you're looking at me like I'm crazy here. No?
I'm waiting for your vote, Jamie.
All right.
You might have said a couple of things that sparked some perhaps distant memories.
I knew it. I knew what that looked meant.
I'm waiting for your vote.
How'd you end up there, huh? You knew exactly what I was thinking as soon as I said I wasn't sleeping well. You knew. How'd you get there? You sleeping all right?
Dreams.
Yeah, dreams. Lots of dreams. Lakeside dreams. Topic number one was something special. And to be honest, I was hit so hard by both gentlemen's conversations that I didn't catch it all. But Mr. Rotunda gets my vote. He painted this beautiful picture of like an underdog, almost like a painting.
Mm-hmm.
Like a smooth painting. Mr. Rotunda for me. Mr. Rotunda for me, definitely. Yes. That gets my vote. Chad. Somebody, please.
Oh, topic two. Do you find it easier to forgive yourself over others? Wow. Let me tell you, this was a really, really it made me think. You had Ted coming out wanting to talk about what happened with him and his wife. Very, very hard to face yourself in the mirror and to forgive yourself. I thought right there, this is who I'm voting for. But when it comes all down to it, at the end of the day, it's not just the whole thing. It's the whole thing. And I mean, Mike's been through a lot. I mean, there's so much that Mike's been through a lot too, to explain things that in his own personal life. With his son, is there something he could have done? You know what I mean, or any aspect like that he may have been able to do to be able to forgive himself when it happens. I just found that Mike gave so much more into the topic and so many more examples on how to be able to look at yourself rather than blame other people. And he chose himself over it all. That I'm leaning on, voting for Mike in topic number 2. Like, as I said, for me, it was just a matter of content over just the personal story. As hard hitting as that can be and sway somebody, sometimes it's just the little extras added into the topic that can make the difference. And for this round, as I said, I do have to give this round to Mike just because of that. How do you feel, Giselle? Do you concur or disagree with me yet one more time on this?
I like these topics every week because we can use our verbal paintbrushes to create pictures and scenes and images. And hearing the stories means so much more when they can articulate them enough that we see what the competitors are seeing and we feel what the competitors are feeling. And for topic 2, the story I saw the most clearly was Mike Rotunda's. So he is also getting my vote for this second topic, which is a really fantastic question. And I would love to know all of our answers to it at some point. Howard, who painted a picture for you?
Well, I will say we got 2 great perspectives from Mike and Ted. There was something that Ted shared that spoke to me, and his biggest fear was that he thought his wife was not going to forgive him. And he quoted his wife and said, "I believe in the God of restoration, not divorce." And I thought that was pretty powerful statement. I also appreciated his vulnerability to kind of share that. So I think ultimately my vote goes to Jamie. I was just going to say, you should maybe just drink some water. Drink some water. I think it might help you. Okay. I was just going to say my vote goes to Ted for this one. And I'm actually a little thirsty myself. Ramon, what are you thinking?
So when it comes to someone talking about their faith, I am always very interested into what really made you get into following this religion and being very passionate about your faith. And this topic really answered that question for me when it came to Ted Dibiase. And that is honestly what swayed me towards my vote for him, because a lot of what he was talking about when it comes to his faith was around his wife, around his job. This is literally what saved his life. And the stories that he was telling really just hit hard. It hit me in the feels. And especially when he was talking about his wife. And yes, I do love that quote, Howard. That's ultimately what got me. So this round, it goes to Ted for me. He gets my vote. I would love to know what that comment right there by Alice meant. Hashtag thirsty.
Hashtag
water.
Mm.
I mean, I was thirsty for that comment anyway, or I was thirsty for that topic. So,
Sometimes we just get thirsty, and oh, Kelly J. White. Yeah. We're here. We're voting on topic two, and I also have to agree with my cohort, Ramon, who I'll be battling for a green ticket on the post show. Please refresh and watch and vote. I agree with him. At a different time, we probably would have got along, even better. But the green one can change. Sometimes it changes people. The lake, yes. It's the sea. I don't want to go back there, but I do. Keep thinking about it. I fall asleep, head on my pillow, tired from a kickboxing workout, and I can't sleep. And when I do, it's like if you were to look at the screen and you could go through like water, like you could go through it like an abyss to the other. It's not just any lake. My lake. Definitely mine. Definitely my lake. Topic number 2. Like Mr. Dibiase said, forgiveness is a two-way street. I also believe in a God of restoration and not Don't, Larry. I'm sorry, Larry. I'm sorry, Larry. I'm sorry, Ramon. I'll get it together. I believe in a God of restoration, not divorce. I have to give my vote to Mr. Dibiase. Yeah.
Jamie, could I ask you something?
Of course.
I keep thinking of this word, sacrifice. And it just occurred to me. It's something we have to, I think, ask ourselves. Because I was also thinking about mirrors and how they could really pierce you in two. Because they could pierce the soul. But when your soul is pierced that deeply, Jamie.
Like mine?
What are you willing to sacrifice to win?
Everything and nothing. Just on the other side of nothing is everything. And it's all green. You understand. Look at me. You understand. It's all green. Talk to me not of sacrifices, Collado. Look at me like that, Chad. Giselle, do not bat your eyes. Ramon, I don't know. I'll see you on the post show, Ramon. But you need not talk to me about sacrifice. Because you know better than anybody. what I'll do, what I won't do, what I have done, what I don't remember. This is a celebrity tournament now, man. It's different. We're not there. I was there.
Do you want to remember?
It's a funny question, isn't it?
Is it? Some people don't.
Well, some people don't. Some people do. Some people do sometimes. Some people can. Some people can. Ask me. I feel I feel on fire, Miranda. Start that way, huh? Some more with the water, everybody with the water. Yeah, I want to remember, and then I want to forget, and then I'd like to forget that I ever knew. You understand that better than anybody.
I might.
We are finally ready to find out who advanced. Yes, sir. Yeah, Myron, it's a great Saturday night. It is an outstanding Saturday night. It is a great night to compete on the post show. Please refresh right after the last part of the show, and you'll see us all there. Some of it.
We will. Jamie, are you going to be ready for your match with Ramon?
Of course, I'm be ready. You know I'm ready.
Do I?
I don't know.
You're gonna be okay, Jamie. You seem a little edgy, my friend.
Don't. Yeah, I'm gonna be all right, Giselle. Okay.
Listen, if you want to do this another time,
excuse me.
If you want to do this another time, if you're not feeling yourself, then
I'm feeling more myself than I have in a minute. I'm ready. Yeah, actually, it's funny. I feel so much myself.
Well,
ooh, here we go.
Want to read it, Giselle?
Well,
who's going?
3 participants were set for their second round match. One
The tournament.
is signing on. So here's who we say goodbye to.
Human being. Last name Sabato. First name Antonio. Antonio Sabato. Welcome, my friend.
Welcome. Thank you for having me on. That was the best introduction ever, man. You had me in tears, man. That's great. Thank you. And like they say, jump in front of the truck to save my friend's life, and you actually have to jump in front of that truck. Who really does it, and who really will stand on the sidelines? And I just don't really wanted to stand on the sidelines and fight for beliefs that mean a lot to me and my future, and me as a whole. Why I really want to be on this planet is to be free to speak your mind.
Wow. Just like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Gone but not forgotten. Absolutely.
But that's guys, that's the reality of this tournament. All right.
The game's played.
There are going to be people who don't advance. Oh, whoa!
Congrats.
All right.
Congrats to both Ted Dibiase and Mike Rotunda. They both move on to round number 3.
All right.
Money Inc. has officially entered.
Amazing.
We've seen
Yes.
round 1. We haven't seen anyone Ooh, a most gripping debate tonight. Wow.
Absolutely.
Yes, it was. That was an amazing match, as they are every week with every event. And we have another amazing match coming up for you next week. And what is the best way to find out that match, Jamie?
You are going to refresh and come on to the post show where we're going to have some fun. And Ramon and I are going to compete for a green ticket. A green ticket. Yeah.
Yes, we are going to have that match tonight, and we are also going to have a match next week. And Chad, how do we find out about that match next week?
We are going to stay and watch this freaking amazing outro Abby has to show who is on next week's Saturday show.
Yeah.
Oh, the fingers there.
Obsession's going to be talent every time. You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed? Is it all you ever think about?
Craft became sobriety. I don't say how I did it, where I did it, but I did it. And I did it with the help of strangers.
Haunting when you think about like all the time that has passed and life that has passed. But I just hope everybody has a great weekend.
I'm no Dan Severn, but I'm 38 years old. I feel amazing. I get to raise my kids. I travel the world. I still wrestle probably 2 to 3 times a week, traveling from Mexico to Japan.
But do what makes you happy, you know. Sometimes it's better just being a fan of something and actually doing something that you're passionate about and love, rather than, you know, just something like you like, you know, because it's hard. And anything worthwhile is hard.
Very, very smart thing to do, because it was not just about we want money for the famine. It was about relationships between our country.
No one's going to know your gift and your voice more than you do. So why not take advantage of that?
For it, and I just committed to it, and it was scary, but once I committed to it, it wasn't as scary. I wasn't scared because I just was determined.
Just because I don't understand something doesn't mean it's not valid, and you should respect everybody.
Yeah,
Treat everyone with respect, whether they, are like you or agree with you or not.
To have one of the best managers in baseball, Leo the Lifter Osher, as a manager. I had him for 7 years. He gave me that opportunity to be a starting pitcher, to go out there and display my talent, and to win ball games.
These individuals gave me an opportunity and the honor to contribute to the game that I loved, baseball.
I got a chance to come to California to train for the competition. I got a chance to get to know Joe Weeda. Joe was like a second father to me. He took me under his wing. He introduced me to art. He introduced me to history.
But in life right now, I love all people. Nobody's better than anybody because I don't have an ego.
33 players were involved. Crime groups were involved. They fixed 86 games.
I don't really care what the talking heads say. Okay, most of them don't know half of what they think they know. And so you just have to have confidence in yourself and your abilities and believe in yourself. And I think we believed in each other.
As a skater, music would give me these highs and lows, and we performed in music, so you're always like feeling something.
I've heard of, but there's so many other amazing skaters that I've been lucky enough to work with as well that not necessarily have the same recognition, but are truly talented.
There's a reason that they hand out those Oscars and those Olympic medals and those awards for whatever you became great at. And it didn't happen by accident. It was actually a blessing in disguise because that was the same time that organized sports got introduced to me.
Now, my view in this world is we need something like Gort to bring people back to their senses and end this chaotic nonsense insanity of war. Allow them to only run on their names. That way it becomes important that the voter educate themselves. What does John Smith stand for?
How we grew up, it was serious. Today is not that serious. We could deal with it like we used to deal with it when we was growing up, and we could overcome this if we keep a calm, cool, and collective head.
I mean, he dribbles the ball and does a lot of things with the ball that Steph can't do.
You have to tell people that you love them. You have to treasure things. You have to value things.
I really like my act, and she said, if you ever come to LA, write to me, let me know. And I wrote to her, and then she cast me in Incredible Shrinking Woman.
But I think there's also the artists that are seeing something and they don't know why, but they have to put it down, whether it be on a canvas or through a lens.
The values, there were a lot of great values that were sort of transmitted in that show. And Gary Marshall, who was our exec producer and creator, he was very big on that.
He was considered a villain, and sometimes, as you know, in athletics and even in movie athletics, the villain will get you to come to the fight, to the event, because you want to see him get his ass whooped.
It's going to be rocky. They're going to be ups and downs. They're going to be disappointments. There'll be triumphs and tragedies, but enjoy the journey.
I went through addiction myself too in dealing with it. I mean, I did it all cold turkey, so I didn't reach out for a lot of it. But to hear a lot of these people's stories and how they were able to overcome and what they went through and the different channels that they were able to come and find the answers that they needed overall to get where they want to be in life.
It's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that itch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore, you gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you.
You know what? Maybe one of the world's problems will get solved by listening to this show.
Love, I'm gonna win this whole thing. Watch.
I know you are, Tom. I know you are.
10-minute refresh. 10-minute